Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Divine Data. My name is Samantha Rose Paprin, and I am so excited to be here with Jules Borden today, COO of Envision Festival. How are you, Jules?
Very happy to be here in the jungle, grounding down, taking this time.
Yeah, it's so lovely. You get to live on how big is the property that you guys live on? You guys live in like a community, right?
Yeah, there's like the retreat center, and then I believe like 7 or 8 different home lots, which there's only like 3 different developments. But yeah, we got a nice little community family up here, which has been an absolute like dream during this time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like what example to be setting to show that there is a different lifestyle to be had, because right now, in your own community, you have the ability to like grow your own food and be with people and do the things and feel still sequestered off in a time when we're supposed to be isolating and away, and to be surrounded by that much nature. I mean, I know I was just there, and what a blessing it is, because I think that nature is one of the most nurturing things that we can experience right now during a time like this.
I couldn't agree more. It's been so nice to have time to focus more on the gardens and processing all the ginger and turmeric and yummy things that are just like constantly working on the immune system and just the ecosystem here in general. It was a cool test when it first popped up, and kind of thinking about, all right, as a community, how do we address this? What policies are we going to set? And just making sure that, everybody's following a similar protocol so that we can protect one another and really address it as a family, instead of being, a neighborhood where everybody's kind of got their own thing going on, and you can't break social distancing in a setting like that.
Yeah, it's important to recognize that there are chances for times like these to come around. And if there is, accessibility, capacity, and like the amount of people to create the community, it's, I think, really important for people to be considering moving into more alternative lifestyles like that. And I think it's called an alternative lifestyle nowadays, but it's like something that's been, it's the ancient practice. It's how people lived. And I believe personally, and I think there are a lot of people who would agree, that it is how people should still live. And yeah, it's beautiful that you guys are doing that and living that, and living proof of the sustainability and like connection that you're able to sustain during even times of total social isolation around the entire globe.
And even in day-to-day life, you see society moving closer and closer to this model of ease and comfort, and everything being delivered to your doorstep, and it's supposed to allow us to have more time for whatever it is that we're doing. But in reality, I see that as just separating us more and more from humans, from nature, from our source of food. And I think that that's what's creating so much of this, like, there's an emotional disturbance in people, that they feel disconnected. And I think so much of that comes from this idea of standardization and ease of use. I find that I get so much more joy out of taking the time to plant a tree and then come back later and like reap the benefits and eat the fruit off of that tree, versus the supply chain now, where you have no idea where your food is coming from, and there's no connection to the spirit that's in it.
Absolutely. And planting that tree, you may have to wait a bit for it to grow, but then you're sustaining life for years to come. That tree can be feeding your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. And it's something to be said about like, we have kind of become a society that's addicted to this at our fingertips ease. You know what I'm saying? Like you just said, it's like we even have it in dating life, like the swipe right, swipe left. I want the next one. I want the new thing. I want the fastest thing. I want Amazon Prime this. I want that. When, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey kind of thing. And we need to remember that because we're moving too quickly as a society, trying to develop way too much too fast. And I like to say, Mother Nature doesn't need us to help sustain her. It's just our responsibility to help sustain humanity. Like she's fine.
Yeah.
But she's not fine with what we're doing, and we won't be fine if we keep doing what we're doing. And these times are very evident of that. And it goes beyond just, the current prevalent news of the virus. It's the forest fires, it's the other natural disasters, it's the lava in Hawaii. Like it's all of the things that Mother Nature is like, look, like with destruction comes creation, and you guys need to build anew. And the destruction is going to keep getting greater and greater and greater until we do something about it, or she does something about us.
I think this is a pretty mild warning in comparison to some of the other ways that Mother Nature could give us a slap on the wrist, not to downplay any of it. It's a real thing that's happening. But I just hope that people can really take something away from this and not just rush to go back to what was normal. It's my biggest fear.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really beautiful segue into talking a little bit about Envision, because at Envision, you guys are creating a whole society there to help like people quite literally envision this new earth that we're stepping into, that we're being given the opportunity to choose to step into. And I hope that we all do. I think that we as humanity are waking up collectively through all of what's going on right now, but you never know if it's going to really be enough. And I'm really hopeful, and I have hope, and I have not given up. But yeah, going every year to Envision has given me more and more hope, has opened so many doors and so many portals for me. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey getting involved with and now being one of the COOs of Envision. So yeah.
Yeah, where to start? Well, I went to college in Nashville to study music business. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do with it yet. The commonality for me was I've always been drawn to music because of the way that it connects people, the way that you can stand in a crowd with a bunch of people that may not even speak the same language as you and still go through the same range of emotions and feel that connection. So pursuing music for me was kind of always what I knew I wanted to do. And then as I went deeper into schooling, I realized I really liked the organization and business side, systems, the things that to other people would probably bore them to death. I studied music business, and then when I graduated, I just couldn't find anything in the US that really called to me. And I was fortunate enough to have the financial freedom to volunteer and travel. So I got connected with LEAF organization, which is a nonprofit that works in many different countries throughout the world, preserving Indigenous culture through music and arts. So they got me set up in Costa Rica on like a 3-month volunteer stint. And I came down here and just started getting more involved with a project down here, Proyecto Gironde, that was really trying to make the indigenous music and culture relevant to the younger generations here in Costa Rica, infusing vocal tracks into modern electronic music. It was just really, really cool. But anyway, in that time, I had the freedom to travel on my own and ended up in this area in Uvita just to be a tourist and see some whales and do all the fun stuff, and ended up couch surfing on the couch of the CFO at the time of Envision. I didn't really know what it was. They just kind of dove right in. He got me a position, and I stuck around after the festival and just made myself available. I knew that deep down it was something that I really felt called to be involved in. It's put on by a group of really incredible humans that really put their whole heart and soul into creating this experience that people can walk away from with new tools to integrate into their own lives. And it was just a clear talk about human connection, talk about breaking down barriers and opening you up to a whole new experience and paradigm and way of living. And I kept inserting myself into the business until I finally made it up to COO, and I get so much fulfillment out of being able to create organization for Envision and make it digestible for the employees and for the attendees, and just trying to make it a little bit easier every year.
Well, my experience has gotten better and better every year. I want to ask you, what is the heart of Envision Festival?
Oh, that's a hard question. I mean, it's connection with yourself, connection with the people around you, and connection with nature. It's the concept that we are all one, and that if we're not looking out for each other and supporting each other, and doing the thing together, why are we even doing it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it is that is exactly what it is oneness. That's the essence I feel stepping into the festival grounds. Even before that, it's actually incredible. At all of the airports on your way into Envision Festival, you can spot people going to Envision. And at first in the States, you're don't ask yet. You're just going to a flight to Miami, and it's just Miami. A lot of people go to Miami. You can't just assume they're going, and then you get to Miami and you're they're going to Costa Rica. That's when you walk up to Costa Rica or the Miami airport, so Envision. And it's just you feel that energy, that family already. It's we all have it, of course, because oneness is inclusive of everyone, even non-Envision goers, of course. But it's interesting. It's this, I don't know, this extra essence of the energy that bringing us all together, magnetizing us there all at once to be there in that space, and the amount of synchronicities that occur there, and opportunities and people that you meet. I happened to end up last minute speaking at Envision this year, not even knowing that I would do that, because a spot opened up at the Humans I Trust camp stage. And of course, I loved speaking there. It's not it was a main stage or anything, but I was not even expecting to speak there. It's my third year coming to Envision, the third time I'd ever even spoken on a stage, and it was there, and it was one of the most sacred moments I've ever experienced, because I was I'm here. This is where I found so much of my soul family, and so much has catalyzed from the very first time I stepped foot in this land. So yes, oneness, definitely. Okay, and I want to know, because this is an interesting time right now for music festivals, and I see that you guys have already started to move into a bit of the virtual space. I want to hear, is there any sort of extra plan? Are there going to be more events coming up online? What can we look out for with the Envision crew?
Yeah, you know, we're in the process of trying to navigate the online presence right now, like most people and most businesses are. It's definitely a challenge to find the space in a virtual reality that's so strong right now. So we're working on it, just trying to figure out kind of where the best place for us to land is. And in the meantime, we're also developing more of the on the ground community, and talking about expanding the property that we live on here, Selva Armonia, into an Envision community with the neighboring property, and really cultivating more of that year-round physical presence, which that's really what fires me up. We definitely want to offer the online content for people right now because, you know, we did one online festival a month ago that was really great. We had a lot of people that gave us feedback that they really appreciated having the connection and having the opportunity to be a part of the Envision tribe again. And I think growing and evolving to a place where we can provide that for people year round is a really amazing opportunity. It's really exciting. But for me personally, I get fired up thinking about my immediate community here and really cultivating the connections. I think a lot of people are really realizing how distant they are from their local communities in this time. I know a lot of my friends have talked about how they're realizing that, you know, normally they're traveling all over the world for most of the year and they're not cultivating the relationships that they have surrounding their own homes. And that it's been a really cool opportunity to think about how can we support our local and immediate family and cultivate those relationships deeper. So that's kind of where my heart's been at, and also trying to help things along in the virtual world as well.
That's awesome to hear, that you guys are being able to like move into that space of the virtual world so quickly and to be able to pivot that quickly, and offer that to the people, because I think that's one thing about music festivals that gets to me a little bit is that it's only once a year and it's like a little bit of medicine, and then you want the medicine and you can't get it for like the rest of the year because it's a very special medicine. Like each music festival has its own energy, has its own essence, has its own, you know, community that's gonna bring you different information and music and friends and, you know, all of the things that create a music festival. And to hear, you know, this potentiality now, even though it's through kind of this like devastating time, we're now seeing this ability to, even though like it's, you know, be like really hard to keep up like a year-round festival because it's very expensive, and very tiring. I know, because I worked the first year that I went to Envision, and like even just as a volunteer, it was very, very, very tiring. But to be able to do it in the virtual space, you know, we can do this from our living rooms. We can still communicate. We can still be that family. And as sweet as it is to only be able to, you know, contact dance once a year, and maybe at some other festivals we run into each other at, you know, we can still contact each other and still have that connection. But I also agree that while we should be looking at this bigger picture because we want to heal externally what has been going on, we need to start internally and then work our way outwards. So like doing that internal work and then turning to our families and our communities. And that's how that ripple effect happens. Because if we can really like create and cultivate that space and that harmony in ourselves and then our immediate communities, it's bound to, through the ether, affect everyone else across the globe. And so I commend you for that. And I think that's exactly where your heart should be. If that's where your heart wants to be, it's a perfect place. But not just that, I think that's where we should be collectively aiming to have our focus.
Yeah, we're in such a unique time of reflection and opportunity, right? The ability that we have to connect at a time like this, where we're quote unquote isolated, we're incredibly lucky to be in the era that we're in and be able to share knowledge with one another and emotionally support one another from afar. It's huge. Like, there's definitely something to be said for the internet. As hard as it can be to weed through all of the media and the conspiracy theories and all of it, there's so much good that comes out of it as well. And I've really appreciated seeing it through a new light.
Totally. I think that, you know, I have spent quite a few years in this internal debate with myself, whether or not the internet is evil. And I just realized that it can be our ally. And it is one of like the most empowering sources if you allow it to be. And it's just like, you know, it's about consumption, what you're willing to consume. And unfortunately, we live in a consumer's world, and consumerism, you know, will sell us that really cheap stuff, but that like very enticing, alluring stuff. And we need to, like you said, weed through that. And I think that through this, people are not looking for those distractions anymore because they've lost all other distractions. You know, we don't know how to work with those anymore. Now we're seeing the truth. We're feeling the truth. We're seeing something collectively on a, like, I don't know if humanity has ever experienced something like this on such a global level and been able to communicate about it at the same time and feel each other through the ether, but actually know, like, cognitively as well, why am I feeling so much too? Oh, wow. And so then people learn about empathy. Like, we're learning so much, and we're learning how deprecative our actions are to society by seeing what the world looks like when we don't do our normal activity every day. And quote unquote, like normal, like you said in the beginning, we shouldn't be looking back to rush back to normalcy. What is normalcy? Why do we want that? It wasn't good.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
I don't know how to ask this. I mean, it's such an interesting time for music festivals, and everyone is sort of, you know, rest in peace, our festival season 2020. Obviously, it's very difficult, and I can't imagine what it's like to be, I don't even know how to word this question, but like, so you say we're working on the immediate community right now. Like, what does it look like? Is there a plan in motion, or is it just on a holding pattern right now for next year?
For the festival, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now we're just taking it day by day. It's so hard to tell where anything is going to be in 8 months from now, you know. So focusing our energy on the things that we know we can be doing to help our attendees and the larger community, and any content that we can get out there to really support people through this process. And then, I mean, there's there's plenty of analysis going on in the backgrounds, and constantly looking at the numbers and trying to see all of the different millions of scenarios that lay in front of us. But really it's all speculation right now. And I think that's what's making this so difficult for so many different industries. The event industry is definitely being hurt hard, but tourism, retail, like there's so much uncertainty, and it's trying to predict and control where we're headed is probably what's going to drive you insane. So I'm just kind of like trying to loosen the reins a little bit, position ourselves to be as flexible as possible for when the veil is lifted and we have an idea of what the future holds, and then be poised and ready to attack.
Totally. I love it. I mean, I think that there's something to be said about the timing of everything. Like, to have been able to still gather this year for the 10-year anniversary. And beyond that, I think it was important. It had to happen. You know, the people there had to go and meet each other there. That had to happen. I genuinely believe, and this may be too woo-woo for some people watching this, but like, I believe that what we created there emanated a frequency out into the planet that was not just healing for us, but healing for everyone, healing for humanity, and connected to everyone and connected to humanity, because we weren't just sitting there only thinking about ourselves. And the amount of workshops that we're talking about, the globe that we're talking about, reaching out through the ether for their loved ones. And we're always thinking community-based, global based there, worldwide. And that's what it is, because it's people coming from all walks of life, all nodes of the planet, coming together because of that one draw for oneness, that seeking of soul family and connection and community. And that is, I think, in, you know, the heart of Envision, yes, but the essence of the human existence as well. And it is like one beating heart there at Envision. It is incredible. You know, you get to go and plant trees there, and you get to learn all of these workshops, and you get the best like business opportunities of your life, especially if you're in like the wellness and consciousness space, because you go and you meet someone on the dance floor, you don't even speak to them. You think maybe they don't speak the same language as you, but they happen to be working on the same project as you, receiving the same downloads. And oh, it turns out you guys are birthday twins too, and like share a middle name, like, and you're going to work for the rest of your lives together, and you're meant to meet there. Like, that's the stuff that happens there. And that magic needed to happen again. And it's funny because I was telling someone that, and I don't know, maybe it's too soon. You can tell me if I should edit this part out, but someone was telling me that like, oh, were you at the music festival? Like the last music festival on earth, the one that people got stuck at? And I was like, at first I said yes, because I didn't know that there was this music festival that like people actually got stuck at. And I was just like, yes, it was the last music festival on earth. Like, that's how it felt. And they're like, oh my God, are you okay? Tell us everything. And I was like, yeah, I'm great. It was like the best year ever. And I'm so happy. And then they're like, wait, was this the one? I don't remember where it was, in Panama or wherever. You can tell me if you know. But I was like, oh, no, this was Costa Rica. Everyone was fine. We all got out. Like, no, like.
Yeah. Our timing was definitely very fortunate. Yeah, that festival in Panama, I feel so deeply for them. Logistically, I can't even begin to imagine. I mean,
I want to know about like just projects that Envision like gets behind, Envision starts, that makes the world a better place. Because, you know, I mentioned the tree planting, but I know that a lot of like the vendors and the people that come talk, and like there was a superhero academy, and there's tons of people involved with Envision and Envision's family, and you guys are always working towards making the world a better place. So I want to hear about some of your favorite projects that have come through Envision.
well, the biggest one that I can think of immediately off the top of my mind is Costa Verdes, the reforestation project, as you mentioned. We worked with them for many years and reforested a lot of coastal park here in Costa Rica. And now we're working even more closely with Federico Gutierrez, who is like our main liaison with them, who's now started Somos El Cambio, which is a nonprofit association that Envision is using to funnel funds towards reforestation, beach cleanups, community activities. And that's really, it's been amazing to see that project flourish and really take root this year with our 10,000 tree challenge. They're the ones that are implementing that. So we've got trees going in the ground on site right now. It's so close to home that's the one that I really am the most involved in. And then, like you said, we have theme camps that come in, Humans I Trust, freedom culture, momentum has always brought really, really cool vibe and performance, and just love everything they do. But yeah, the year-round opportunities, I'm really excited to dive deeper into cultivating those relationships, and now that we've got a little bit more time and availability on our hands, hopefully we can really start to dream up more. What can we be doing to activate on a global level and on a local level, and just building it out to be something that's accessible to people year round instead of it's a bummer that Envision only happens once a year, and the rest of the time, we rent the site all year round, and it's a constant battle against the jungle trying to make sure that it doesn't get eaten. Yeah, we've got a lot of work on our hands, and sometimes it can be easy to get stuck in the lens of like, we have to work so hard to do this festival once a year. And so having this paradigm shift has really given us the opportunity to think about what else could we be doing? How can we activate more throughout the year, and using our connections, really expand our network and offer more to the world.
Yeah, maybe we can talk after this and we can collaborate. I'm seeing like a conference festival I want to throw on those grounds with you guys. I don't know, maybe it could be like a mid-year one that's tied to Envision. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. Seeing things, feeling things. I don't know. I agree though. I think that there's something like there's an essence to the excitement of waiting 1 year to go again, It's tasty, it's alluring, it's great. But I really do miss the whole family, and it's like that's hard to stay connected. And if we can do something virtually, if we can find ways to create events around the world of Envision sponsored or Envision just collective people coming together, and we're doing that, and not just, Envision, let's move this into a global act. Let's all be like continuing that lifestyle. And I was even saying this yesterday, that there was one point in time where I said, I think I was 18 years old, and I was like, I want my whole life to be like a music festival. I just do. I want to be able to freely express myself. I want to love everyone. I want to learn from everyone. I want to be as weird as I want. Yeah, dance all the time, like not stop dancing, and have it be okay, and have it be okay to dress weird, to not really dress in much at all, to have whatever you want.
Express ourselves on a very real level is what it's all about, and that's the vulnerabilities too. It's the wide range of emotions that aren't always supported in modern society. Like, you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to be this, and you're supposed to live this life. And I love the way that festivals and just break down those walls and encourage you to like discover who you are, figure out your style. Like, all of those things, it teaches you how to rediscover yourself, right? We're not claiming to have the answers. We're trying to create a container for you to come and open the portal into like your own full potential and who you are, and being able to connect with other people to support you in doing that.
Absolutely. And I think like snaps to that. I think if any other people who plan music festivals out there watching this, that should be the bottom line, the only reason why it's being done. You know, the music and all of that, yeah, but that's all part of it. That's the human connection. That's the oneness. That's the unity. That's what's creating the vibe, the frequency, but that's also us. And it's coming back to home. It's coming back to love. It's coming back to oneness and to full freedom of individual expression, you know, and self-expression is so important and so stifled in regular society. You know, we're told that like some of our biggest like magic powers are our downfalls, and some are even labeled like learning disabilities and stuff, when it's like that's a magic power, man. Like you just haven't learned how to like translate their symbols into your symbols. And that's exactly what a space like Envision does, because it just lifts the veil. It is that portal. And it's just like, come on in. This is who you are. This is like, you're going to discover who you are, and you're going to discover your whole family inside. And then so much more in this world, because yeah, we don't need language beyond energy. We don't need anything beyond music and dancing and being free and expressing ourselves. And if we can remember that, then maybe it'll be easier to support each other. Maybe greed will be less, and we'll want more connection, and we'll want more happiness and joy, and realize that that's what we're operating for, is the primary thing, is that pursuit of happiness. And to be happy is to know thyself, to love thyself. And to know thyself and to love thyself is to know your brother or your sister.
Absolutely. We're all in it together.
Literally, very, very much so. We're all in this together. I almost want to say I appreciate the coronavirus in a sense, just because it's allowing us to realize that we are really all in this together. And as much as we need to be self-sovereign beings and take care of ourselves, we also need the help of our communities, and not just our communities at home, but our communities at large. But yeah, and that's why, yeah, going to music festivals, just traveling in general, because I know that, you know, you've had a bit of a vagabond find yourself lifestyle like myself. Like, we get to learn about the different nodes of the planet. We get to learn that there's like so much more out there, and the world is quite large, and yet it's really, really small, because there always happens to be some sort of weird 2 to 6 degree of separation from you and some native tribe in the mountains of Peru or Costa Rica or wherever you may be, you know?
Yeah. And I think the rawer the environment, I don't know if that's a word, rawer, more harsh the environment, the more it brings people together too. That's why you look at models like Burning Man, and like the human connection that happens there is just, it's unrivaled. Like the serendipitous moments, and I think a part of that comes from, you know, I was listening to Charles Eisenstein did a podcast with Life is a Festival, and they talked about the safety third principle at Burning Man, and how that is essentially like you're consciously giving up a degree of safety in exchange for that feeling of really being alive. And not only that, but having to rely on other people to help you through hard situations. Like if you've ever been to Burning Man, you're going to end up in a situation where you're across the playa and you don't have a bike and you just ran out of water and you're in the middle of the desert alone. And then you realize you're not. You're surrounded by thousands of family members that you just don't even know that they're family yet. And that supporting one another, and embracing the possibility of death is a thing that modern society is so focused on extending life. And again, going back to that, the ease of use and everything's comfortable and safe and packaged up into this little pristine box, but then we end up bored. We're bored. We want something that's going to give us that thrill. We want to jump out of a plane or, go skiing down the side of a cliff. Whatever it is, whatever the outlet is, I feel like as humans, we kind of need to dance with death a little bit in order to like truly feel alive and truly understand that we have the ability to rely on one another to help us through it.
Absolutely. It's super important right now. And I think that there's also like this sense of like going inwards enough to like almost self-isolate to the point where you have to realize that like you need other people. We need other humans. And sometimes that needs to happen. And I see a lot of people right now having a hard time because, through the Matrix lifestyle, we have to walk every day as a warrior. And we don't get to, want to feel held every day. And that's what is also so interesting about music festivals, because it's almost this like sigh when you get there, because you're like, I'm held by Mother Nature, I'm held by my family here, I'm held by the community here. And I've lived in intentional communities before. It's possible to bring that festival lifestyle into those communities. It's possible to even walk down the streets and live in your small apartment in a big old city and feel disconnected from everyone, but still hold that light and know that oneness is there, and know your community from Burning Man and from Envision and all of the other places are out there, but also right there too. The people that you're walking around those cities and the people that you're at Black Rock City and you don't know anyone because you're lost in the middle of the playa and you can't find your friends, and there you go, you just made 10 new friends at a camp that you didn't know existed. And I don't know, I've never even been to Burning Man, but it's like a huge dream of mine and I'm going to go. I just have always told myself that I want to be fully prepared, and I think I'm finally at that point in my consciousness journey that I would feel good. Like I thrive in music festival lifestyle, but that Burning Man is like, like Hell Week of being in like the military or something. Like it's the real one. It's the thing. That's how you know if you get into the Navy SEALs or not. And I don't mean to put it on a pedestal at all, but that's a massive gathering of that sort. And to be so ingrained in like the Envision community and know so many people that go to Burning Man is like, okay, cool. Like I can move into that space. And I think that shows that if we can do it at something like Burning Man, we can move it outward and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, a lot of people look at alternative lifestyle and they kind of scoff at it because it's not in their programming. It's not what they've been conditioned to know is normal and true and right and whatever. But like I dare those people to just get a day pass to Envision, man. Like go for like, or a weekend pass. I don't know what you guys do anymore. I don't want to sell fake day passes. I don't know if that exists. I think they do, right? Sundays or something like that.
Sunday day pass.
Yeah,
and
Sunday.
A 2-day pass and a 3-day
pass. Exactly. So like, go, I dare you to try it for just one day. Come for a couple hours. Like I'll get someone a ticket if they really are a naysayer. And I want to see the smile on their face when they realize, oh my God, I get to be free and I get to be me. And there's people that live like this year round. So I want to thank you, Jules, for doing that. And I know that there's plenty of communities and people doing it, but we need people to actually live that lifestyle, And I'm sure that there's plenty of people who run music festivals who like say like, yeah, transformational music festival, but then like live in like a apartment somewhere in a city and like don't do any of the lifestyle stuff during the rest of the year, and it's just that weekend. But to be authentic and actually be living there, and it's your jungle and that's your space, and you know, you guys get to cultivate this community year round, and then like bring to life an even bigger community once a year, and now trinkle that into, I don't know if trinkle is a word, but sprinkle, I think is what I meant to say. Trinkle, sprinkle.
Great words.
Yeah, all like we're just like make the rules in this new earth we're stepping into. We just get to say what we want, express what we want, do what we want. Yes, all of those things. And to walk away from this, I want to know your favorite part of being a leader in this music festival space.
I feel like I could talk for another hour on this one. Well, so my role, not to get too in the weeds here, but I thrive in creating the systems and the documentation, and you know, Envision goes from being like 5 to 10 person team in the off months, and then in the fall we start ramping up a couple hundred, and then during the event we have over 1,000 employees, and that happens every single year. We have to onboard all of those people. So creating and making information accessible and digestible is kind of my strength, and then watching that go from spreadsheets and SOPs and all of the systems on my little computer screen right here to this flourishing ecosystem of people and organizations and connection, and watching it come alive after months and months of just thinking about it hypothetically and passing along information to our team, which then gets passed along to the volunteers, which then just radiates out to the attendees until it's like Friday and I'm standing there in the middle of the field looking around and going like, did that happen? The things that I kept seeing on my computer screen all year, like it's wild. It's wild to watch it all come to life.
Absolutely. That's magical. That's, you know, watching what you've written down in your manifestation journal come into fruition before your very eyes, and done with love by a community that, you know, is old and new, all the people that you've like grown with, and now new people that get to come in and do it. And I even had a friend who did one of the stages, Luna stage, 2 years ago. She designed it, and I was so impressed. I went to middle school with her. I was 3 years old. I've known her since I was 3 years old. And I didn't even know until I got to the festival and I saw that she was posting that. She was like, oh, me and my team designed this stage. And I was like, what? How? And like, it felt so like another connection, the oneness, and not to get into a whole anecdote, but yes, it's incredible. It's an amazing portal. I am so grateful to, you know, have been able to attend it this year. I hope, you know, we all get to gather again soon, but if it's not in person, I look forward to whatever magic you guys come out with on the internet. And yeah, thank you so much, Jules. I adore you. It was so fun to talk.
Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Have a good one, babe.
Thanks. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.